All right, Shalom. First and foremost, all praise, honor, and glory is to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai. All praise, honor, and glory is due to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son for being merciful enough to bestow this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding on us, which pretty much is the bridge to salvation. All right? This knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is what gives you hope. All right? Your hope rests on the understanding of these scriptures. All right? So we always give thanks to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son for opening up our mind and our heart to, receive this engrafted word, which is able to save your souls. I also want to give double honors to the head apostles and elders of Great Millstone, the men whom we believe the Heavenly Father set up and established to push out this word in these times. And to all you brothers out there that's doing likewise, continuing in their legacy, pushing out this gospel in all true faith and sincerity. Shalom. So y'all want to just jump right into it. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 28, verse 21. For the Lord shall rise up as in Mount Perazim. He shall be wroth as in the valley of Gibeon, that he may do his work, his strange work, and bring to pass his act, his strange act. Yeah, and as we move forward, we're approaching the times where the Lord is getting ready to show that strange work, which is going to come by way of our deliverance. All right? The Lord is going to deliver us in such a fashion that the average person is not going to be able to comprehend, man. And if you spiritual, especially concerning the fulfillment of prophecies, then you'll know that the Lord is pretty much showing that strange act as we speak, all right? By way of raising up certain men to be able to go into these scriptures and break down these prophecies. All the men that you see throughout the landscape of Babylon the Great, also known as America, and all throughout the world for that matter, that's boldly going into these scriptures, breaking down these prophecies with authority, well, guess what? That's a strange act, man. All right? Especially when you consider the book of Revelation, the 5th chapter, where it tells you that John the Revelator, all right, or John the Apostle, wept bitterly because there was no man found worthy, all right, to open the book, man, or look thereon. But we're in the times now where the Heavenly Father have found certain men worthy enough to actually go into this book. It tells you in the book of Daniel that the books were open. And those books are the Bible, all right, which is a collection of books. So right now what you're witnessing is the strange work of the Lord Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, man. But it's ultimately going to be made perfect, this work, which the Lord has reserved for last, when he deliver us, all right? This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 16, starting at verse 14. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that it shall no more be said, the Lord liveth that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But the Lord liveth that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, which is pretty much North America, man. All right? In particular, America. Because it's well documented how great of a deliverance it was for the nation of Israel, which consisted of you so-called blacks, Latino, Native, and Central American Indians, man. It's well documented how great that deliverance was. They make movies on it, you know, how the Lord sent different plagues, you know, leading up, building up to that moment when he finally led us out of Egypt by way of a pillar of fire by night and a cloud by day. Well, that was an extraordinary deliverance right there. But the scriptures tell you that it's going to be no more talked about that deliverance. Why? Because the deliverance from here in America is going to be far out, you know, it's going to far outweigh the deliverance that happened in ancient Egypt. It's going to be a very strange and marvelous work, all right? So again, it said, but the Lord liveth that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north and from all the lands whither he had driven them, and I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers. Yeah, so all the lands that the Lord had driven his men, all right, and the elect, because I must stress that, you know, the majority of you Israelites, you so-called blacks, you Latin tribes, you natives, all right, Seminole Indians, which are indeed the biblical Israelites, well, the majority of you are going to be destroyed. You're not going to be delivered from this upcoming destruction. Only an election is going to be delivered. And not just here in America, but all throughout the world. That's why the Lord say he's going to gather us from one end of heaven to the other. All right. So in that day, it's going to be what the world calls UFOs that's going to stretch from one, one end of the sky or the heaven to the other, man. And they're going to be beaming up people up in those chariots, up in the chambers, which is another word for what the white man deemed as UFOs, which are the chariots of the Most High, which is the vehicle that the Lord is going to use to deliver us in this time, man, which is going to be a strange act. And we believe this wholeheartedly. And we not, bent out of shape because people don't believe it. In fact, it's off to the better. It's, you know what? It's best that you don't believe it. And that's the way the Lord set it up. Why? So it could be a certain shock value to it, man. If everybody believed what we believe, then it wouldn't be no shock to it. So the Lord blinded the majority of you people, all right? Because for one, you've been under the foot of the so-called white man. You subscribe to the so-called white man and his philosophy so long. You drunk off that wine that was given to you by the so-called white man. You've been raised up in this Disney World type of system to where the things that's believable is unbelievable to you, man. And the things that's unbelievable, that's the things that you would embrace. Nevertheless, the Heavenly Father is about to slap you people with a spiritual dose of reality, man. He's about to shake you up. And like I mentioned, it's good that you don't believe this, man. All right? So when it happened, you're going to fulfill the scriptures. Such as the scripture I want to get real quick, Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5. Starting at verse 1, then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him and made no account of his labors. Yeah, which I brought out early in his lesson, the fact that we go out on the highways and hedges and we boldly push out this truth, all right? In the face of cops, the so-called white man, whoever come up, man, all right, that's a strange act. Verse 2, when they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation so far beyond all that they look for. Yeah, so the average person going to be amazed at the strangeness of our salvation, which is going to take place by way of us levitating off of the ground and floating up into what you call UFOs, man. And see, the Lord setting this thing up beautifully, man, all right? The Lord put the spirit on these movie directors to make movies such as Independence Day and War of the Worlds, And even going back to the 60s, all these different UFO movies, Martians Attack, which pretty much is all under the category of sci-fi, science fiction. So you see, all that's in the plans of the Most High. So when it happened, it's going to be strange, All praises is due to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, who is great and wonderful in his counsel, man. He's wonderful in his works, all right? What he does is, it can't be rivaled by nothing, man. And for the men of the Lord that understand this beautiful story that's playing out, we can't come up with the words. Let's put it like that, all right? To describe how perfect the Most High set this thing up, man. All right? Verse 3, and they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometimes in derision and a proverb of reproach. We fools accounted his life madness and his end to be without honor. How is he numbered among the children of the Most High and his lot among the saints? Yeah, that's what you people going to say, man. You people not going to believe that we are the men of the Lord, all right? When we going up in those chariots, you people are going to be tormented by that moment, man, all right? So the Lord set this beautiful work up all the way. He set it up and reserved this moment for last, man. Like the old saying in the world, the best for last. Well, the Lord saved his best work for last, all right? And it's going to be a strange work indeed. Because like I mentioned, all you people ever perceived when concerning UFOs or so-called UFOs that it was all make-believe. It's going to be the farthest thing from your mind, man. 1 Thessalonians 4:17, then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds. All right? To meet the Lord in the air, so shall we ever be with the Lord. So when we get caught up in the air to meet the Lord, man, do you know that that moment is going to be heavy, man? That's going to be a moment that's going to bug everybody out, man. Which every day the sun set and every day the sun rise, we approaching that day, man. Esau can't match the reset button. You can't, put it in reverse. Each day that goes by, we getting closer and closer to that salvation, man. That's why, any guy that look back into the world or go back into the world, they was not fit for the kingdom. And they didn't really understand what this thing was about. Because when you understand the Most High, where he got lined up, matter of fact, let me give one more quick scripture that would just come to mind, and I close out on it, all right? This is 1 Corinthians 2:9. But as it is written, I have not seen, nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which the Most High have prepared for them that love him. All right? So pretty much these guys have not digested the fullness of the scriptures and what it really entails. Really, when you come into this truth, it's all about salvation, man. A lot of guys come into this thing, to just go out on the streets, have on a garment, be amongst, feel like they're a part of something, cuss the white man out, get on a black woman, When you come into this truth, man, your main desire should be salvation. You should be seeking out the things pertaining to salvation. And once you find them out, which pretty much this lesson is centered around, all right, the strangeness of our salvation, pretty much, then this should keep you locked in, man. If nothing else but suspense, just want to be around to see that moment, man. Which it all goes back to faith. A lot of guys really don't believe it, man. But the only men that's going to make it up in those chariots is going to be the men that the Lord set up to make it anyway, all right, from the foundation of the earth. So I don't want to stray off the topic because this can go on and on and on, all right? But that's pretty much it. Until the next time I say shalom.